Welcome to In the Green, the podcast based on the intersection between life, finance, and the pursuit of breaking par. I am your host, Ryan Briggs with GFG Wealth Advisors. Time to tee off. Welcome back to the In the Green podcast. Today we are going to be talking about mindset and how it correlates to success. In doing so, we have a very special guest with us today, former Coach Blair. He was the Fighting Aggies women's basketball coach for 19 years. He was able to hang a national championship along the way, so he does know a thing or two about success and how to get there. Coach, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Looking forward to it. It's a great conversation. I love, you say in the green, and I'm on in about 30 minutes trying to hit on the green, okay? Because I can putt, but in the green, I like.
Your putter's deadly. We all know that. We got Coach out first in the morning here on the recording schedule just so that he could make his tee time, so we love that.
Well, I love it. It's a beautiful day out here in Bryan College Station, so hopefully it'll be a score in the 70s today.
I have no doubt. Any of you that have ever played golf with Coach Blair know that that's in the cards as well. I'll get us started on our topic here today. So you have a lot of experience in building teams, coaching young athletes to a successful state in their career. How would you go about building a successful mindset, a positive mindset amongst a group of people or even yourself?
I think sport can relate to business. It can relate to church. It can relate to building a team. I think that's what I do best, and I think a lot of that comes from my Marine Corps background. I was in the Marines in 69 and 70 during the Vietnam era. I didn't have to go to Vietnam, but I learned 75 guys is a platoon. And I had to learn the mindset of the drill instructors. What were they looking for to build us into a unit? Because these were 18-year-olds through 23 that were in boot camp. Guess who the 23-year-old was? It was me. So I understood a little bit about sports and a little bit about failure and success at that time of my life. And it starts with organization and belief and being able to not make excuses. Gosh, that's what adults today do. They justify. They make excuses too many times instead of just saying like an athlete has to, my bad. It was my fault. It was a bad shot. It was a bad pass. I made a bad decision. And that's what I learned in the Marine Corps. And hopefully it's carried me on to my life.
I'm sure it has. You learn some valuable lessons at that age that, lead you to where you are today. So that's great. So, taking responsibility for, your possible shortcomings or a mistake that you made will help. Would you say that helps lead to a successful mindset where you can just move on and move past and for the better of the team?
I hope so. Rusty Burson and I did a book called A Coaching Life. It came out in 2016. You can buy it at Aggieland Outfitters. But I talked about success and failure. What led up to that? What changed my mindset? What did I have to experience before I could find success? And I had a lot of failure early in my life. And so flunked out of college in architecture after a year. Ran out of ability in baseball because I was a 128-pound center fielder that could catch everything but couldn't hit too much. And I found that. I was an average student. I was just Joe Average out there trying to find a life at Texas Tech and figure out how to make grades, how to be successful, how to keep a girlfriend, how to have enough money to have a date on Saturday night. We ran through all of those things. But it's working your way through life, hitting that wall and not trying to go around it, but trying to go through it or climb over the problem that's there. And I'm a problem solver. And that's what I try to get through with my players over the years. I've experienced failure, okay?
We all have, I'm sure.
And now, how can I help you get through it? But first, we have to identify it. Then we have to go forward. And then we have to be positive. We have to learn how to stroke kids, particularly in today's world. It's hard to be the Woody Hayes of football anymore, or even the Billy Gillespie when he was here. He was a tough coach, one of the best we've ever had. But at the same time, kids today need more coddling, unfortunately. They need an understanding, and they need a path to success. As most athletes at the level that I've coached at, they're only interested in getting that degree, playing time, and going to the pros. And sometimes in reverse order. So
Sure.
we're trying to find that way, and like at 78 years old, I'm still coaching because I'm watching ball games. I'm sitting there watching the women play last night. I'll be at the men's game tonight. I'll be watching sports on TV when I get home.
Can't turn it off, can you?
No, it just keeps going, and finally I'll fall asleep about midnight every night.
All right, so we've covered, your definition of, positive mindset, how it can lead to some success, whether it be in life or on the court, on the field, whatever sport you play. Can you give us an example? You've got a lot rolling around there. I'm sure you've had thousands of kids come through your program. You've had hundreds of coaches, I'm sure, at the like. So, if you could just give us a nice anecdote that speaks to our topic.
Okay, basically, as a high school coach at Dallas South Oak Cliff, I'm a product of Title IX. That's when Title IX started in 72, 73, and we started women's athletics in the large cities. We were an instant success there. I had athletes, I had kids that wanted to be taught. They wanted, I thought I was going to be a baseball coach, a boys basketball coach.
I didn't know that at all.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were always a basketball coach.
No, I wanted to be, and actually that first year at South Oak Cliff, I coached the golf team because integration hit in Dallas in 68. I got there in 72, and they didn't have a golf team. Because back there in the 60s and everything, when I played ball, I graduated in 63, everybody had golf teams. But it was pretty, you had segregation and everything like that. So I coached the golf team for 2 years, particularly my first year. Then I started basketball in women's athletics. And so I had to build it from never had anything. So I started it from scratch, coached all 4 sports, and so we won 3 out of the last 4 state championships. So I went to college at Louisiana Tech, and as an assistant coach, I went into a pad hand. I went into a team that went to the Final Four the year before, and it was a great situation. We won 2 national championships, a second and a third, and a Elite 8 in my 5 years there.
That's a heck of a run.
But during that, I got to work under the best. Leon Barmore was sort of the Bobby Knight of women's basketball.
Okay.
He was that good. He showed me what preparation, organization, and dealing with the elite was all about. Because sometimes with the elite, you can't just kick them in the butt. You got to massage their ego a little.
Sure.
You got to build them up. You're coaching the Tiger Woods right now. You're coaching the Joe Namaths. How can you deal with those? So
They know they're good.
Okay. Well, in '85, I left to take the job at Stephen F. Austin. And
as a Sam Houston State Bearcat, that hurts a little bit.
Yes, it does. I never lost to Sam Houston State during my 8 years there. I just wanted to throw that
Not
in
music
there.
to my ears.
Well, and my assistant coach later on in my career, Vic Schaefer, we used to be the coach at Sam Houston State. He never beat me, but he owned me after he got to Mississippi State in Texas. But it's, Ryan, when I got to Stephen F. Austin, I had to go back to failure again. I inherited a 3-24 team.
Oh, man.
And the worst news was they were all coming back. So nobody graduated. So what was I going to do leaving a national championship program to go to the bottom of the barrel How do you start over?
Sure.
Identify the problems and realize we didn't have the kids that could shoot. Spent my every night recruiting, because back then you could go out every night to recruit. I'd get in my car, go all over East Texas and Louisiana and Oklahoma and recruit, and so did my staff.
A little different than today.
So I learned how to build a program. And that first year we went 16-15 and finished second in the league, and I thought that might have been my biggest accomplishment. After that, we won the league 7 straight years and was going deep into the NCAA tournament. But I learned what it took to build a team of assistants first. Candy Harvey, then Nell Fortner, Sue Donahoe, Julie Thomas. 4 assistants over a period of 8 years there. And Nell ended up being the Olympic coach. And
that's incredible.
She's had a great career. She's head coach at Georgia Tech now. I used to tell kids, hey, we're going to run a triple post offense that first year because we didn't have any guards that could shoot. I said, we're going to run it, we're going to pound the boards, we're going to get it inside. Now I started recruiting the type of speed that I had at South Oak Cliff. And so after that, we became a running and pressing team and an up-tempo. But that first year, I had to adjust my philosophy due to the talent that I had. And we were successful.
So because your success, and that's a great example of success can mean a lot of different things. Because your success before you moved to Sam Houston, or Stephen F. Austin, pardon me, was national championships.
Right.
But getting to SFA, you realized the national championship, that wasn't in the cards for a while. So you had to shift that mindset a little bit.
Here's the most mind-boggling stat, not my W's. I competed in 9 straight Final Fours. My last 5 at high school, where we went 3rd, champion, second, and champion. And then champion, second, and third.
That's incredible.
Okay, that's my biggest accomplishment. So I knew what it was like. In high school, I knew how to get it done. I knew there was no recruiting in high school. South Oak Cliff was where Harvey Martin played football. Michael Downs for the Cowboys played there, and it was just a basketball athletic power.
That's awesome. So you could recreate that Bill Russell photo where he's got all of his rings on his fingers.
Oh,
you?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I might have to get you to do that someday.
No, I had 9 straight. I have them in a shadow box at home. I don't bring out and walk with me down the street. Hey, look at this. Because just like I tell my players, check your ego at the door when you come to play for us, because it's all about the we now, not the I in the forehead. You learned about the I in the forehead, excuse me for going back, but a Marine never says I in boot camp. Never. The private says or something when you're in boot camp. Never said that word I, or that drill instructor was going to get his finger and it would go back about 2 inches into your head. And that's true. That's Marine Corps.
That's nice. Well, I can speak personally here, just having, being fortunate to know you for a couple of years. You embody that. You embody the humility of what it means to be part of a team, not the team. And it's not just something that you're speaking to when you're speaking in front of people or speaking, to a internet audience. That's something you live day to day with. So, great example. I want to set a scene here, and I want you to give the viewer a piece of advice. Okay. The person that we're speaking to is out there. They're not a sports athlete. They're a business professional. They're out in the world. They're starting a career. They're starting a business. They're facing some challenges just like everybody does every day. If you could give them a solid piece of advice to help shape their mindset of how they approach every day to achieve their goal, what type of advice would you give somebody in that situation?
The first thing, learn how to be a good listener.
That's
Too
huge.
many people want to tell you the answers sometimes before they've been asked the question. because they think you are just part of that conversation. Learn to be a good listener. Back when I started as a PFC in the Marine Corps, when I went to Louisiana Tech and I was the assistant after being the builder of a program in high school, I became the assistant. I learned to listen to Coach Barbour and Coach Sonia Hogue, the two head coaches there. I learned to listen to the players. Kim Mulkey, who beat us last night, she was the point guard on that team, and Janice Lawrence, who was the best player in the country, and Angela Turner, who's been a music lawyer and a very successful career out in LA, now in Dallas right now. You learn to listen to the athletes. And young people want to be heard. And now as a granddad, I want to be able to listen. It's my daughter's birthday today, 42nd. She'll be in here tomorrow for the women's game. My grandson is 20 years old, manager on the Arkansas women's team. He'll be in here tomorrow for the game. But I've learned to listen. And sometimes what comes out of your mouth sometimes is just a rambling, rhetoric thing that you need to slow down and get the points across. Bobby Knight used to be the very best at getting his point across, mixed in sometimes with a few four-letter words, but say more with less words.
I love that. That's awesome.
Say more with less words. And I used to listen to his videos before I'd go out on the practice court when I was at Stephen F. Austin from 85 to 93. And I'd listen to a few words and then try to phrase a word or two I heard on that video while I was writing out my practice plan. How could I become a better teacher instead of a coach? And for y'all that are out there in the business world right now, just realize you're not going to get NIL money for going working for Exxon or Chevron, and you're not going to leave after you do not get a promotion that first year. Earn your way. It took me a long time to get to where I am today. But what you've got to do is take the steps. Find the good company. Find somebody that you can learn from. Find out who that person is. What are the names of his kids? What are the names of his grandkids? Where did he go to school? What was his failure and success? Don't just pat him on the back and kiss up to him. You need to find out what it takes to move to that next level, because eventually he probably has the job that you're going to want someday. But he needs to say, how can he move to that next level? I learn from bosses, authority, from powerful people. Read the newspaper every day. I'm talking about the newspaper.
You still get it thrown on the doorstep every morning?
No, they don't throw it anymore.
Okay.
I get it in the mail, the Eagle, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I go to the Hilton and I get my free USA Today every day, Monday through Friday. I go pick it up. They know I'm coming.
That's
I just
awesome.
Pick it up.
I didn't know you did that. That's
I
cool.
still do it. I'm cheap, but I'm thorough. I listen to the news. I like Nora O'Donnell at 5:30. I listen to Daryl Bruffett on sports. I read Robert Cessna's columns, and I read the great writers. I go to movies because I want to see the true stories as much. I want to go see the movie Boys in the Boat. Tremendous movie. There's another one out called American Fiction right now. About an African American that's a writer, and he's going through his family. They were all professors or doctors or whatever, and listening to the stories. Can you find out more? And Ryan, being a product of South Oak Cliff High School, probably the best thing I ever did in my life, because I was at an all-minority school when they first handed me the whistle and said, go in and teach this class. After school, you coach them. It's been a blessing to grow up in a diversified world and see what I can do to help break some of the racism that has been in our lives for too long. I mean, it wasn't pretty.
Well, it's amazing to me, hearing that story. I can imagine a lot of people would have gone in there kicking and screaming at that time, yet you decided that you were going to take it as an opportunity to learn and get better and improve, and then you found some success that way. That's fantastic. I think you were definitely a special person in that time, special person today. So
I read about all the stories back then, all the things with MLK and everything that's gone on. When JFK got shot, I know I was a freshman at Texas Tech, coming out of the lunchroom. You always know where you are. I know where I was when 9/11 hit. I was on a recruiting trip in Memphis, and my assistant, Kelly Bond White, banged on the door, turned on the TV. You remember those things, and what can you learn? And then what can you do to go back and address your friends and your students and help them understand the world that we're living in today?
Sure. Well, awesome. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you setting aside some of your morning to come hang out with us on In the Green. We really appreciate the insight from your lifelong career with experiences just to share a kind word to our listeners and viewers. So we really appreciate you coming by.
Appreciate it, Ryan. Like I said, I'm fixing to go out there and try to win $2 today on the golf course. And if I can hit the greens better, if I had a good golf coach and a good chipping coach, which you've helped me on, I would hit more greens in regulation and putt for the dough.
Well, I've got a feeling somebody's $2 right now are trembling in their wallet, because Coach Blair, he'll get it on the green. So really appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for paying attention or watching this episode. We really appreciate it. We hope to see you in the 19th hole. Thanks for listening to our episode today. Make sure to like, share, and download our episodes wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate a review. Hope to see you in the 19th hole. Content here is for illustrative purposes and general information only. It is not legal, tax, or individualized finance advice, nor is it a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any specific security or engage in any specific trading strategy. Results will vary. Past performance is no indication of future results or success. Market conditions change continuously. This commentary reflects the personal opinions, viewpoints, and analysis of GFG Wealth Advisors. It does not necessarily represent those of RFG Advisory, Private Client Services, or their clients or their employees. This commentary should not be regarded as a description of advisory services provided by GFG Wealth Advisors or RFG Advisory, or performance returns of any client. The views reflected in the commentary are subject to change at any time without notice. Securities offered by registered representatives of Private Client Services, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services are offered by investment advisory representatives of RFG Advisory, a registered investment advisor. Private Client Services, GFG Wealth Advisors, and RFG Advisory are unaffiliated entities. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where RFG Advisory and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advisory services may be rendered by RFG Advisory unless a client agreement is in place.